Consul General Martignon, I want to pick up on a thread from Consul General Fotiadu's discussion a moment ago. It seems to be that amongst those who have problems with the current composition of the Eurozone, there are two criticisms that are related in a way about the relationship between the economic integration and the political integration. And on one side you have the Eurosceptics who say this is insane, we should go back to our own currencies, we should go back to total national sovereignty and abandon this international project. And on the other side you have the folks that say, are you mad? We have created the largest common market in the world. It is a recipe for vitality. This is a bump in the road. And in the long run, this is essential to a vital and prosperous Europe. First of all, is that a false choice? Second of all, where do you come down on that argument?
Well, you tell me when you give me the hard questions, okay? Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also very happy to be here tonight and to try and answer your question, Troy. This is definitely the tricky question. In fact, the political aspect and the economic aspect of the European integration, or the process of integration, are absolutely intertwined in a way. The creation of the single currency, the euro, looks like an economic fact. Well, it is indeed. But of course, it obviously had a political purpose. It was another step to deepen the integration between the members of the European Union. Of course, not all the European Unions were part of the euro. As you know, Britain and a few others are not part of it, and they will not be part of it in the coming months and years. But it is definitely a political endeavor. So that is the first reason, in a way, why we won't back down. Because backing down on that question, on the question of the Eurozone, would be a kind of political failure, and we don't want that. Because our common history, the European history, has been made of hundreds of conflicts, and we don't want to go back to these times. I would say there are three other reasons why we won't come back to national currencies. The second is the consumer's preference. The European consumers have been now used to use the euro in their everyday life, and especially when they travel. When they travel in Europe and outside Europe. The euro is a strong money, it's a strong currency. And even if some people say that we are in the middle of a financial crisis in Europe, which is not true, by the way, or not completely true, the euro is still very high. It's still today it is at 1.28 compared to the dollar. It was last year it was at 138, so it means it's still very stable. And to all the investors who are in room tonight, you can keep on buying euros against the dollar. It's fine. It's fine. And by the way, that's my job to tell you that. And I'd say there are two other reasons why we won't come back to single currency. How can I say that? Have you ever tried to put back your toothpaste in your tube? Well, just try, just for fun, and you will understand how difficult it is. All the assets and the liabilities that are written in euros, if we were to come back to national currencies, who would decide if there would be to be paid in Deutschmark, or in lira, or in drach, or in franc? It's impossible to say. So there would be a huge uncertainty that would lead, in fact, to a bank run. And so the states will have to cover all the risks, and so that's impossible to imagine. That scenario is just impossible to put in place. And I'd say the fourth rhythm is economic. if we were to come back to national currencies, the effect would be, and that's what American bankers told me, so they must be true. First, given the difference of competitiveness between Northern Europe and Southern Europe, and especially between Germany and, let's say, the Club Med, Italy, France, Greece, the immediate effect would be an immediate and strong appreciation of, for example, the Deutsche Mark. And so that would lead Germany to a recession. And in the same time, there would be a strong and robust depreciation of the other currencies, like the lira, the Greek currency, even French currency, you can imagine that. And so immediately we would go into a time of hyperinflation. Well, we don't want that. We don't want that. That would be the worst economic strategy that we can imagine. So that's why I really think that all political aspects aside, economics aspects will be less to strengthen the Eurozone.
Councillor General Peroni, first of all, thank you for your patience. Etc. No, I open. Councillor General Fotiadou referred to some of the reform measures that are being undertaken in Greece. There's a notion, true or not, that I'm sure you've all seen exists in American minds about how European economies are structured. And the idea is that there has been a social acceptance of the trade-off between perhaps a higher rate of taxation with a more generous social safety net. True or not? And added to that is the factor with the social welfare programs in these countries, particularly in Southern Europe, in places like Italy and Greece, that you have systems now where your birth rates are shifting dramatically, and there's a demographic upheaval, and so systems that operate based on transfer payments from the young to the old are becoming balanced very differently than they were in the past. And I know in particular, out of 220 nations in the world, I believe Italy and Greece are 201, 202, I think, in birth rates. They've gone down dramatically. When you look at the future of your country and others in the region, is that something that can be solved by incremental tinkering in the system, or do you guys have to rethink the way these things are structured and create new policy solutions that don't really track what you've done in the past?
Thank you, Troy. I'm the last to arrive in Los Angeles, it's just fair that I'm the last to speak, so I accept that. Listen, I think that there are always going to be commentators in the US, especially it's full of commentators who always say it's the end of the entitlement state in Europe, it's the welfare state that doesn't work. Yes, you can make this case, you can make the opposite case. As a matter of fact, actually, what you are seeing now is that many European countries, starting with Greece, but now everyone, is undertaking very rigorous reforms to change the way their economy works. You're seeing that Italy, my country, we had a changing government in the last few months of last year, and the new government undertook a very serious effort of reform. They adopted a new austerity package that is quite significant. So the issue, I'm not so convinced either that it's a debt crisis. Yes, we have a very high debt per GDP ratio, but if you look in general, if you look at the overall figure, US versus Europe, I'm not sure that this is true, because the US has a higher GDP versus debt ratio in Europe, on average. And so, in my country, we were pretty calm until the fall of 2010, and 11, sorry. And then all of a sudden, the market started targeting Italy. They started first with Portugal.